Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. And, of course, on the John Campea Show, we encourage all of our viewers, if you attend AMC theaters, do not buy any of their overpriced popcorns or sodas. They steal your time by showing you 30 minutes of commercials after the advertised start time of the movie. Do not give them any more of your money. Sneak in some snacks or eat before you go. Joining me in studio today, we got Jonathan Voico.
And I steal your time with stupid jokes.
We got Robert Meyer Burnett.
I don't know what I do to steal your time.
And most importantly, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics that we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, that's when we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, we'll read your question on the show. Now, the good news about the tip link is that it's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you happen to be listening to this show a little bit later on a podcast feed, say on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or your favorite podcasting app of choice, or if you happen to be watching this show a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question. And if you send one in when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. I'm a little sleepy today because last night we went out and picked up our Nintendo Switch 2. And so Ann was like, I'm like, we can get tomorrow. And I was like, no, let's go get it tonight. I'm like, all right, let's go get it tonight. We brought it back. It's like midnight. I'm like, okay, we got it. Let's go to bed. No, I want to set it up.
Yeah,
okay,
you can't buy it and then just go to bed.
Yeah, so Ann's like, we get it all set up. I'm like, okay, let's go to bed. No, we're going to play some Mario Kart. I'm like, all right, babe. So got to bed a little bit late. I will say this.
Or early, you might say.
Or early. I will say it's a lot of fun so far. So far, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, guys, let's get into some movie stuff here, shall we? And we're going to start off with this. You know, Wicked came out last year, and I got to say, it was one of the more pleasant surprise movies for me. Like, I knew the movie would be big, and I knew it would probably be good because John Chu directing and all that kind of stuff. I was honestly very surprised how much I liked it. I really enjoyed the film a lot, and I've never seen the stage play. I have no idea what happens in part 2. But now I've seen a little bit of part 2 because the trailer for Wicked 2, also known as Wicked for Good, terrible title, by the way, but whatever. The trailer for it has dropped as we get more Elphaba and Galinda and the flying monkeys and all the other things you can talk about all in there. Now, they showed us some preview stuff for Wicked 2 at CinemaCon this year. And some of it in this trailer, some of it not. Looks intriguing to me. I like the trailer. I do. I like it as much as I liked any of the trailers for the first one. Didn't think I would love the first one, and I did. So that's a good sign. Rob, here's my one big worry.
Uh-oh.
Okay, here's my big worry. And everybody who's already seen the stage play are going to go, oh, that's adorable. Because I haven't. I have no idea what happens in the second part of the thing. I love the idea of putting a little bit of a twist on the story of Wizard of Oz. But I don't want them to change Wizard of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what I'm nervous about, here's what I want to have happen. That through tragedy and terrible circumstances...
Jon Snow is victorious, right?
And wrongs done to Elphaba... I need this movie to end with her being wicked. Because when we watch, I almost said Mary Poppins. When we watch The Wizard of Oz,
she's pretty terrible.
That is not just a misunderstood green lady. She's a wretch.
Yeah.
She's awful. She's terrible. She's a murderer. She's all the things. So what I don't want, I need this movie to kind of end on that note. If it ends on a note of, oh, she was just always misunderstood, I'm going to feel a little bit cheated. And right now, everybody who knows the stage play is laughing at me because they all know how it ends. Anyway, you saw the trailer. What did you think about the trailer for Wicked for Good?
I thought it looked great. I mean, you know, ever since we first saw like a year before it came, or 2 years before it came out at CinemaCon when they first started shooting Remember they had like 1 million flowers on that one set?
And they showed how much of it was actually practical.
Yeah, it was all practical, and we were like, wow, you know. And so obviously they've spared no expense. The talent they put together, the way it looks. I mean, I think that Wicked for Good's going to be great. I mean, if you like Wicked, what's not to love? I think it's going to be a fantastic follow-up. And people have said too that you know the second half's a little more dour, so maybe you'll get your wish. I have not seen the stage play either, but you know, I really like the movie. What's not to love? And by the way, for all you naysayers, I like the color palette. I watched
it's
a lot.
gorgeous.
Did you go down that rabbit hole? Why does this movie look so washed
Well,
out?
okay.
Washed out.
You literally, you could just go on YouTube any given day, and any new movie that's coming out, there'll be like, why does this movie from the 50s look fantastic, and why does this modern movie look like it's washed out?
Yes.
They just plug and play for every movie that comes out.
But I remember that's one of the first things when I sat down to watch the first Wicked for the first time. In the first 5 minutes, I felt like I was watching a movie from that era. Like one of the things that John Chu like completely nailed was the color palette and the vibrancy and I don't know that would work for every modern film. Don't get me wrong, but for something that was supposed to be like an extension of the world of the Wizard of Oz, I really felt like I was teleported to a different era.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful. And I trust he's going to kind of carry that through in the next one. Anyway, guys, question is for you. Did you have a chance to see the new trailer for Wicked for Good? If so, what did you think about it? Did you like the first one? Maybe you didn't even see it. I mean, it made well over $700 million, so a lot of you saw it. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. Talking about trailers, another one dropped today. Significantly different than Wicked for Good. The new trailer, what they're calling the full trailer for the upcoming Alien TV series, Alien Earth, has dropped. Now, we've had glimpses at it before. We've had some short sizzles come out, but this was like a full 2+ minute kind of real good idea about what it is this series is going to be and what it's going to feel like. Now, look, just to recap, I am somebody who approached this when I first heard they were doing the series as a doubter, right? For a very long time, I have believed, and I don't think I was wrong, that both the Alien and the franchise the Alien and the Predator franchises were dead. Like, just dead. Leave them alone.
Like,
then,
game over?
Yeah, game over. And then, game over, man. And then Prey came out. And it was, hello. This is the best Predator movie we've ever had since the original Arnold Schwarzenegger one. It was fantastic. I'm like, well, maybe there can still be some life in this. But Alien is dead. Well, then came Alien Romulus. And I was like, hello. That was a damn fun movie. Easily the best Alien film since Aliens, I felt. So that was a really fun movie. And still, now we got Predator Killer of Killers coming. And we just talked about it yesterday where they showed it at the one festival and people are 10 out of 10s and people are raving about it. So that sounds good.
And Badlands?
And then, yeah, Badlands is coming. You know, how good that turns out, we'll see. I kind of like the look of it. I think it looks interesting. But this looks great. This looks great. And I am completely hooked on it. And you know what? The synopsis reads really well, too. The Hollywood Reporter sends us this. They say, the official description. In the year 2120, the Earth is governed by 5 corporations. Prodigy, Weyland-Yutani, Lynch, Dynamic, and Taco Bell. In this corporate era, cyborgs, humans with both biological and artificial parts, and synthetics, humanoid robots with artificial intelligence, exist alongside humans. But the game has changed when the Wonderkind, founder of and CEO of Prodigy Corporation, unlocks a new technological advancement. Hybrids. Humanoid robots infused with human consciousness. The first hybrid prototype, named Wendy, played by Sydney Chandler, marks a new dawn for the race of immortality. After Weyland-Yutani's spaceship collides into Prodigy City, Wendy and other hybrids encounter mysterious life forms more terrifying than anyone could have ever imagined. Love the synopsis. And that's one of the first things you even see in this trailer is this obviously sick little girl. And it's like, you're going to be the first person ever to enter into a human robot, all that kind of stuff. And there's something creepy, Rob. There's a shot in it when it's just that dude leaning over the table and all he says is invasive species that I found so creepy and so cool. And as a series, you know what? This is going to sound totally weird. And this is a Hulu show, right?
Yes.
FX.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I know this is going to sound weird. It felt very Shogun to me. I don't know, something about the
Trees.
something about the trees.
Was it the color palette? It's so
Something
great.
about the way
Yeah.
it's shot, something about the way the drama comes across. I don't know, but I'm getting very excited for this, and I've kind of pulled a complete 180 on, my fear about this being a dead franchise. We could just be at the beginning. Anyway, you had a chance to see the trailer for this. What did you think?
Like you, I was pleasantly surprised. This looks terrific. I mean, it's kind of a combination of ideas that Ridley Scott presented to us in Blade Runner, with artificial humans, and then what was already established in Alien with, Ash as a goddamn robot. The idea of immortality through artificial means is something that, I think we're going to be dealing with probably even sooner than 2120, like this takes place in. So it's fascinating that you've got both the Alien franchise and ideas, not just in Blade Runner, but the idea of humans being given bodies to be immortal. I mean, even the original Star Trek dealt with those ideas, and to combine the two, this looks like and I would expect nothing less from Noah Hawley, after doing things like Legion and Fargo, and he's a terrific creator. And this just looks like it's really smart. Like, it looks like it's really compelling and really smart. And I love the idea that in the trailer, it's not just xenomorphs. Like, we've collected lots of different life forms. So it's not just, I'm like, oh, bring it on. I mean, there's nothing like the corruption of nature to give me a fine afternoon. So I can't wait.
I'm going to start my first novel with that line.
I am curious to see how this won't, whether they're going to attempt it at all, not attempt it, to kind of connect the dots between the projects we're getting now. Like, you brought up a little bit earlier Badlands, right?
Yeah.
The new Predator movie. And in it, we see, what's the name of the young actress again?
Oh, God.
Her and her sister are both
course.
like superstars now.
Dakota Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning.
Elle Fanning, right. Where Elle Fanning, where I thought the first time we saw that trailer that her eyes just went white. Like,
Like
she's
a
an android.
Wog from Game of Thrones or
Right.
something.
But then some of our viewers pointed out to me
Mm-hmm.
that when her eyes go white, if you look closely, the Weyland-Yutani
Right.
logo
Flashes.
is on her eyes. So it has me starting to think now about, will there be references, overlap, or are they going to try to tell these as kind of isolated individual stories? I don't know, Rob, when we're approaching this, do you expect to see any sort of either a nod, foreshadowing, referencing of the events of Romulus or
think-
Badlands, or what do you think?
No, I think that they're locked into a certain continuity. And this happens this is a pre-Alien. This takes place pre-Alien. And if you think about Alien, like, the company knew, Weyland-Yutani knew that the xenomorph was on LV-426.
Right.
They knew it. That's why they rerouted the Nostromo, and that's why Ash was on the ship in the first place. So I've always wondered, what does that mean? Like, how did that affect these companies? And I'm really interested in that. Like, look, in Prometheus, which takes place before Alien, they found extraterrestrials. They found the engineers. I
The
mean,
maps.
did anybody send any information or telemetry back to Earth, to say, hey, look what we found? I mean, somebody must have, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it. And the idea that, there's 5 corporations that run the world. That reminds me of the original Rollerball, from 1975 when the corporate wars.
I did not have a reference to rollerball on my bingo card today.
Well,
I got to say.
I love Rollerball, but in the Rollerball future, corporations also ran the world. And I love the tagline for Rollerball was, in the not too distant future, wars will no longer exist, but there will be Rollerball. I'm a huge fan.
Also, what Jonathan is going to start his novel with.
There you go.
next time.
By the way, Rollerball turns 50 this year. Just saying.
Have you ever seen a movie called Electric State? Or Electric Dreams?
I have seen. I own Electric Dreams.
Nice.
Together in Electric Dreams.
All right, guys.
Here we are.
The question is for you. What do you think about this new trailer for Alien Earth? I've come around full circle on it. I'm actually getting pretty excited about it. I think this looks really good. Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, I these days don't get too terribly excited about Marvel Disney Plus shows. I mean, obviously, I was really looking forward to Daredevil. That happened. But the Marvel shows have been hit and miss, maybe a little bit more miss than hit, but they have been what they have been. But one of the ones that everybody's got their eyes on is this new Vision series that might be called Vision Quest. Who knows? We'll find out. But this new Vision series, and one of the things that got a lot of people very excited about was the fact that the guy who show ran Picard season 3, Terry Matalas, is going to be show running this. And of course, Picard season 3, I frankly personally like the whole series, but I think most people agree season 3 might have been the best season they did. And if he can bring some of that sensibility to this, it's going to get a lot of people very excited. Well, I personally am now more excited about the Vision series than I have been since they announced it. Deadline is reporting that Vision has added Emily Hampshire as E.D.I.T.H in the Marvel series for Disney Plus. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with Emily, and you would be forgiven if you're not, but she was one of the stars of maybe the greatest comedy series of all time, Schitt's Creek, a little Canadian show that a lot of people still haven't seen.
I loved it.
With Eugene Levy and two of his kids, Dan Levy and his daughter as well. In it, Catherine O'Hara. It became the first show, drama or comedy, in Emmy history to completely sweep all the big awards. Schitt's Creek won in its final season Best Series, Best Writing, Best Director, Best Lead Actor, Best Lead Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, and a bunch more. No other television series has ever swept like that. And if you start watching Schitt's Creek, you'll find out why. And she's one of the reasons why. She played Stevie, the owner of the little motel that people say, and she was absolutely wonderful in it. And I love her. And I haven't really seen her pop up in much since then. I mean, she's done a lot of smaller projects, but I haven't really seen her pop up in much. So to see this is great. Anyway, Deadline writes the following. Schitt's Creek alum Emily Hampshire is set for a key role in Marvel's Vision series for Disney Plus opposite Paul Bettany, who is reprising his titular MCU character in the WandaVision spin-off, sources tell Deadline. Hampshire is believed to be playing the sophisticated artificial intelligence E.D.I.T.H. I hope it's not just her voice. I hope she becomes a physical manifestation, much like Paul Bettany becomes Vision. Even dead, I'm the hero. Tony Stark's augmented reality security and defense system. In the MCU, E.D.I.T.H was originally created by Stark and bequeathed to Peter Parker following Stark's death. It provides access to Stark Industries' global satellite network, along with an arsenal of missiles and drones and yada, yada, yada. Anyway, Rob, I know that this is a project you have particularly been excited about.
Yeah.
The addition of Emily to this, how are you feeling about the series overall right now? What do you think?
I think it's a really interesting choice. You know, I'm really excited for this because, you know, John, I'm all about authorship. I want to know that the people that are making the show that I'm watching had something to say to me. They knew what they not to me, but they had something to say. And I think knowing Terry, I got to know Terry a little bit. He actually bought one of our puppies. Him and his wife bought one of our puppies.
Oh, nice.
One of the things I love about this is, you know, Terry, people forget, but he was the showrunner of the 12 Monkeys TV series.
That's right, yeah.
And that was 4 years of incredible. I mean, if you look at time travel shows, that's a really terrific series. And then, of course, Picard season 3, he was able to showrun that third season. But I think that he, wanting to have something to say, I think coming out of Star Trek, I mean, he worked on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
he has a long
right.
history working in genre shows. And I think that whatever he's going to do in terms of developing the vision and developing this idea of artificial intelligence and all of this, it's going to be really worthwhile. I think it's going to be some, also like Aliens, some heady science fiction concepts. You're dealing with, what does this mean in terms of how is the vision going to play out? I don't know, but I really think what we're going to get is a smart, dynamic, interesting show. And to be fair, I don't know anything about it. He's told me zero because he knows I have a big mouth and I would blurt it all out on this show probably. But that's, I'm just really excited for it because I think it's going to be a great not only a great superhero series, I think a great science fiction series, and it'll probably be one of Marvel's best streaming shows because he was basically handpicked to do this. So I think he's put everything he's got into it. So I'm excited. And this kind of casting shows that this is kind of out of the box casting.
It is. It really is.
And I think it's kind of the thing that Terry would do. He finds performers like Todd Stashwick is coming back. He was Liam Shaw fan favorite in Picard season 3. He's playing, I guess, an assassin in this show, and he's great too. And so it's great to see this cast be this eclectic. And James Spader coming back.
Oh, it's Ultron.
I can't wait. I don't know why I had to sing that. I just did. But yeah, give me some Ultron, baby. I love my Ultron.
So, do we have any sense right now about when Vision is expected? Like, I'm assuming it's not going to be 2025. I think it's at least 2026,
Yeah, I mean, they've been shooting
right?
this in London since like the first of the year. So it's been in production for a while. I know nothing about it. I have no idea when it's going to air. I don't know. I mean, here my question is Vision going to be in Doomsday? Because Vision, like I was talking about in the show the other day, Vision and Wonder Man, we don't have Wonder Man either, are key players in the Avengers in terms of the comics. Yeah. And the Vision's a heavy hitter, and are they just going to sideline him?
I can't remember. Was he part of Chairwatch? Was Paul Bettany mentioned in Chairwatch? No, but there are more names coming.
Yeah, there's more. But I would think whether he's in the movie or not probably depends on the outcome of this show. So is this show going to come out?
Well,
before?
the movies are going to be shot by the time this show comes out.
Well, but they're both in London. So, so what they could.
I mean, like watching the days.
They were shooting. I mean, they're shooting them both in London.
Yeah.
I am curious though, with Ultron being a part of it, how are they going to navigate the fact that Ultron was literally an Avengers level threat that took the combined power of the Avengers to overcome and defeat? How do you then use Ultron in that way in just one character show? Vision. Now, granted, Vision is the yin to his yang, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how
maybe it'll be like
that.
Dexter and Ultron will be his dad.
Oh, like his Harry.
You know, yeah.
Oh, okay, that would be kind of
Ultron
interesting.
lives in Vision's memories.
So does that mean we get to hear James Spader say, "I'm your daddy now"?
You know,
I'm your daddy now. I would watch this series if it was just Paul Bettany's Vision and James Spader's voice having philosophical debate.
Oh, me too.
For 45 minutes every week.
My dinner with Ultron.
Yeah, my dinner with Ultron.
All right, guys. The question is for you. What do you think about this? I'm extremely excited that Emily Hampshire is going to be joining this thing. I loved her so much in Schitt's Creek. I think she's got an incredible presence. I hope she has the opportunity to really show that in this series. Whatever you guys feel, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, listen, we still have a couple of other things to talk about, including some chat that Dave Filoni might actually be a candidate to replace Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm, with a pretty big asterisk. We're going to talk about that. And Fantastic Four tickets went on sale yesterday. And according to the biggest ticket seller in the world, Fandango, it has set the record for most first day ticket sales of the year. We're going to discuss that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Ridge. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Ridge. Okay, let's talk about this. This is easily one of my favorite upgrades I've made all year. This right here is the Ridge wallet, and it is such an upgrade over my old bulky leather wallet. You know the one, it looked like a sandwich and it felt like you were sitting on a brick. Ridge is a sleek, modern wallet that holds up to 12 cards plus cash, and look at this slim design. It's made from premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. Mine is absolutely beautiful, and I get compliments on it all the time. And here's a part of it that really gives me peace of mind. It's got RFID blocking technology. That means your info stays safe from digital pickpockets. Plus, every Ridge wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. This is literally the last wallet you'll ever need. And right now, just in time for Father's Day, Ridge is having a huge sale. Get up to 40% off your order at ridge.com/Campea. Just head to ridge.com/Campea to find the perfect gift for dad or yourself. When you check out, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Give dad the upgrade he deserves this year. And thank you to our friends at Ridge for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get on to this, shall we? You know, it's not a secret. Kathleen Kennedy is getting ready to move on from the position. I don't think she's retiring, but she's going to be moving on from the position of head of Lucasfilm, a move that is, in my opinion, while I respect her a great deal, is long overdue. She should have been out of that position a long time ago and gone back to what she is one of the best in the world at, just producing movies. But a lot of talk gone around about who could maybe replace her and fill in the chair. Well, the Hollywood Reporter just did this big article on the game of succession in Hollywood right now, talking about the major studios and the people who are currently ahead and what is their succession plan, from everything from Warner Brothers to Disney and whatnot. Now, in what could be almost considered a little bit of a throwaway paragraph later down in the article, they do bring up the issue of Lucasfilm. And now I've had a lot of people going around saying, did you hear that the report is that Dave Filoni, of course, mainly an animation guy who did things like Clone Wars, Rebels, which I love Rebels, and has kind of been a partner of John Favreau in Mandalorian and making a couple of other things that they've done, and has been some corners of the fan community their pick to maybe be the next guy up. Well, the Hollywood Reporter article does kind of state that, yeah, he's one of the candidates, but there are a couple of big asterisks to it. This is what came to us from the Hollywood Reporter. Current thinking is a scenario where Chief Creative Officer Dave Filoni and production head Carrie Beck, both Lucasfilm vets, take co-head roles, which is very similar to what has happened over at DC with, of course, James Gunn and Peter Safran. So that sounds a little bit similar to that. The article continues saying, but the knock against Filoni is that he might be too steeped in Star Wars lore and risks steering a show into dense mythology that loses a broader audience. Or as one Disney insider executive said, he's not the Andor guy, he's the Ahsoka guy. Beck,
That doesn't scream deep.
yeah, Beck. Well, deep into like the pre-existing Star Wars mythology.
Yeah.
Beck, who joined the company in 2012, knows the ins and outs, but neither she nor Filoni has much experience in film. This has always been the part of any discussions that have come around about Dave Filoni, who I have met and talked to on a couple of occasions. Super cool guy, super nice dude. And I was really impressed with, like when we would see the behind the scenes making of Mandalorian stuff, I became incredibly impressed with him when on this first day on set where he was going to be directing an episode. He had never directed anything live action before. And so he directed this episode of Mandalorian. And he said, looked at the camera, because most people in Hollywood think I got to look cool. They say, I trust myself. I'm going to be able to bring this vision to life. I've got the tools, blah, blah, blah. You know what Dave Filoni said? He said, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And man, how lucky am I that I got John Favreau here and some of these great directors that I can learn from. And I remember when he said that, you were on the show with me. When he said that, I said, that guy, no limitations. When you have a guy who has a lot of natural storytelling talent like a Dave Filoni does, and you match that with a learner's attitude, sky's the limit. And I was like, holy crap. That was like one of the most impressive things I think I've ever heard him say. And some people think, well, that sounds saying you don't know what you're doing. No, that's being real. That's being honest. And that's saying you are open to learning. And a guy with that kind of an attitude, there's not a lot of stuff I don't believe he can eventually do. That being said, the one thing I had a problem with was if I need a kidney transplant, I don't want a surgeon who's never done a surgery before.
I got you, John. Don't
you worry. I Googled it, John. I got you.
I'll be over like 8 o'clock tonight. We'll take care of it.
If I need my brake line fixed in my car, I don't want some guy who's really good at Call of Duty, but never actually fixed the brakes on a car to now be the guy. I'm just saying, if I'm a CEO and I need to pick a head of a studio, the head of a movie studio, what level of insanity do you have to put in somebody who's never made a live action film before? That's ridiculous. That's nonsense. But people like Dave. So, don't give him a chance. And again, I think eventually he could be that guy. Give him 15 years, give him 20 more years to amass a bunch of experience. But as you know, some people around Disney itself are saying, we need to be more Andor and less Ahsoka. He's the Ahsoka guy. By the way, some people think because it's always driven me crazy, Dave Filoni's singular obsession with the Ahsoka character, that everything has to be about Ahsoka. Some people misinterpret that as me not liking Dave Filoni. I like Dave Filoni very much. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of Clone Wars, I admit, but I love Rebels. So I'm a big fan of the guy, but that doesn't mean I want him performing my open heart surgery. It doesn't mean I want him fixing my brakes. I don't think he should be the head of a live action movie studio when he's never made a fucking live action movie. And then it's like, well, you know, James Gunn has had decades of making live action films, and paired with a seasoned professional filmmaking vet like Peter Safran. This thing points out that Carrie Beck actually doesn't have a lot of experience in making live action films. So that's why I do believe there is some talk, and that maybe it would be logical in considering Kathleen Kennedy's replacement to look at Dave Filoni maybe. But as the article points out, there's just too many big swings and strikes against it that I think he should stay in his creative officer role and get more seasoned, and maybe in 10 years take over this chair. I don't know. I will say this though, Rob. If in 4 months' time they announce that Dave Filoni and somebody else are becoming the new co-heads of Lucasfilm, I will cheer him on and hope for the best. I will cheer him. I will be in his, I'll hope for the best. I'll be there encouraging him, whatever. And I'll totally hope it works out great. I just don't think it would be the right move. And I don't think it puts Lucasfilm in the best position for success. Anyway, Rob, I think you quite like the idea of Dave Filoni becoming the head of Lucasfilm. No, but what do you think about this story?
See, here's the thing. I mean, Dave Filoni, nice guy. I love his. Dave Filoni's an animation guy. His sensibility is animation, and you know, I know he had Lucas's ear, and he's very up on what Star Wars is. But I don't think running a studio. Look, Kathleen Kennedy had incredible experience producing movies for 40 plus years. But was she the best person to run the studio? I think it's kind of like, you know, they used to talk about how they never wanted Star Trek fans to work on Star Trek, like during the time of the Next Generation, and because they get too caught up in it. Running a studio is not just about making Star Wars. You have to make all different kinds of decisions. I think creatively, Filoni certainly spearheading a creative team that makes Star Wars is a good thing. But again, you know, like people are saying, he was no fan of Andor. Would we have gotten an Andor? Would Tony Gilroy has come out and said time and again that it was Kathleen Kennedy that made sure that Andor got made. I don't think that Dave Filoni would have the vision to let a guy like Tony Gilroy make an Andor, because you know he has got a very specific view of what Star Wars is.
Yeah, and it's Ahsoka, and I still believe in Dave Filoni's future. I am 100% believe.
Sure,
I believe in his future, but right now, he's capable of Ahsoka, and that wasn't very good.
No, and we need people that think out of the box. You know, I think that you need people that are going to take something and do something new with it, and yet retain the core first principles of whatever it is you're working on. And I think that that's something that is, look, you need a Nicholas Meyer to come in and make Star Trek 2 is what you need. And that is, I think, what we need more of in Hollywood. And you know, Dave Filoni has his own way of doing things, and let him cook, let him do what he does. But I don't think running a studio is the best thing for him. Plus, I don't think he'd last in the job. Creatives are creatives. They don't want to be burdened with they don't want the day-to-day running of marketing meetings and whatever else she has to do now. I don't know.
Yeah. And again, you put it best right now. Again, saying what he is right now is not saying that I think that's what he's limited to being because he's a young guy.
Yeah.
But he has very much animation tastes and sensibilities. Like
yes.
you watch Ahsoka, it's got very much an animation feel, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it did not work. And I just don't get anybody who thinks taking somebody with zero movie making experience and making them the head of movie show. And like, to me, the biggest flag is exactly what you brought up, Rob. He wouldn't have let Andor happen. Andor is flat out, no questions asked, beyond a shadow of a doubt, and by miles, the single best thing with the Star Wars label on it since the original trilogy. And he wouldn't have let it happen.
It's the antithesis of his sensibility. I mean, there couldn't be something further diametrically opposed to what he would do with Star Wars than what Tony Gilroy would do. And you know, look at the praise it's getting. I don't know if, you know, creatives are competitive. I wouldn't, you know, I don't know how Dave Filoni's feeling about it now, but there was some scuttlebutt about how even Dave Filoni and Tony Gilroy might have butted heads a little bit during the production of Andor. So I don't know. I can't speak to that, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, you need somebody running a studio is you need to be able to deal with people. You need to deal with crazy producers. You need to deal with people like Dave Filoni strikes me as a pretty quiet, insular guy, not necessarily Les Grossman. And sometimes you need Les Grossman to run a studio.
Sometimes you need Les Grossman in that chair. Yeah. If they announce that he becomes it, I'm not going to sit here and say Lucasfilm is doomed. I'm going to cheer for him. I'm going to hope for the best and go. But I don't think he's the guy right now to navigate Star Wars into a new direction and into a new era. I think he's the guy that maintains the status quo. But again, I see him even now as a really valuable resource, chief creative officer, stuff like that. The guy who is the living holocron. I mean, he's the guy.
Yeah.
He knows Star Wars lore and history, to be a consultant for all the projects going on, like to consult on everything. I think he's that guy. But right now, I think it would be a mistake if they went ahead and did that. You know what it's like? Here's how I feel, Rob. This is how I feel about it.
Tell me, John.
I feel like I'm a dad. I'm a dad with a daughter getting ready to go to college. She's straight A's. She's got everything, the full ride scholarship to become one of the world's foremost brain surgeons. Then she comes to me the day before and says, "My real passion, Dad, is the flute. I'm going to pursue being a flautist instead." Now, I will say, I think this is a mistake. But if that's what you choose, I'll still think it's a mistake, but I'm going to love and support you and cheer you on anyway. That's how I feel about maybe making Dave Filoni the head of Lucasfilm. Total mistake, but I'll cheer it on and hope for the best and do whatever I can to be supportive.
All you can do.
All you can do. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about flautists? And what would you think about the idea of Dave Filoni maybe becoming the head of Lucasfilm?
One time at band camp.
God, I wish I had my sound bites.
And how would you feel, in theory, about a guy who's no experience making movies becoming the head of a movie studio? I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And by the way, I have the highest respect for flautists. I just realized I probably made something stupid.
No,
I don't think that at all.
No, because you're saying, like, what if one day you just decided I'm going to do that for a career and you have no practice? You know?
Yes, that's it. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Fantastic Four is coming. I can't believe how close it is. It was like 5 years ago. Somebody correct me, but that infamous Disney Day Investor Day presentation and
yeah, it was a long time ago,
where they announced Rogue Squadron, where they announced Shogun, which has since come and gone, one of the best shows I've seen in a decade, where they announced all sorts of things, but one of the things they announced was Fantastic Four. And here we are now, like less than 2 months away from the movie coming out. It's crazy. Big trailer dropped the other day, as well as tickets going on sale. Now, I'm not somebody who believes that Fantastic Four is going to be $1 billion film. I think it can do well, but I do not believe there's a lot worked against it. It's not going to be $1 billion film. Well, the tickets went on sale yesterday. Now, we're only about halfway through the year. We've had some big movies. We've had Minecraft that's flirted with the $1 billion mark. We got Lilo and Stitch that's going to be flirting with the $1 billion mark. May or may not cross it, but it's flirting with it like Minecraft did. Number of big films. Well, according to Fandango, Fantastic Four just broke the record for 2025's biggest first day ticket sales. And there are even some reports, I mean, I think they were exaggerated as I looked at it, because there were these reports going, ticket websites everywhere crashing. Looked into it, that really wasn't true. But there were some sites that had some problems. And Superhero Hype is reporting this. Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four First Step ticket sales have officially set the new milestone ahead of its long-awaited theatrical release on July 25th, really the 24th, of 2025. The movie will be led by Marvel Cinematic Universe newcomers Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Bachrach. Set against the vibrant background of a 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic world, Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four First Steps introduces Marvel's first family, again, yada, yada, yada. The important thing comes down to, according to Fandango, the Fantastic Four First Steps has officially become its best first-day ticket pre-seller of 2025, surpassing all 2025 titles in first-day advance ticket sales. The upcoming MCU movie was also previously voted as the #2 most anticipated movie of the summer, only behind Superman, in Fandango's 2025 movie-going trends and Insight study, which included more than 5,000 moviegoers. Anyway, Rob, I got to tell you, I'm surprised. Again, I have believed that Fantastic Four can be big. I think it can be successful, but I don't see it being like 800 million successful. I don't see it. I certainly don't see it as $1 billion successful. I think people are F'd out. I mean, we've had like 5 iterations of Fantastic Four. We've had multiple failures of movies over and over again. I don't know, but tickets go on sale. I honestly thought the tickets would go on sale and would just pass like a ship in the night. But apparently a lot of people bought tickets. Fandango isn't giving specific numbers, but they're saying, oh, this is the biggest we've done all year.
Wow. I mean, that beats out Minecraft. That beats out Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
Sinners.
Again,
Brave
these
New
are
World.
films that are flirting with $1 billion at
Thunderbolts.
the box office. So anyway, Rob, you're seeing this. Are you surprised to hear it? How big of an opening weekend could we be looking at? What do you think?
Like you, I was surprised, but it's just another reminder to me that, you know, we talk about entertainment, movies in this space of YouTube. We are so locked in, and our opinions tend to forget that the real world out there is not as obsessed with all of this minutia as we are. So I think that there's a lot of people. It shows me that the trailers have been effective. They've seen these trailers, going to see, like, the people that want to see Minecraft probably saw Fantastic Four. It looks good to people. People are excited, you know, and I think that the trailers have a certain family-friendly feel to them as well. It looks fun. And
It also looks like it just has a lot of emotion. It looks like it's well acted.
That's, you know what? That's true too. It looks like there's real stakes, and it's not just like a bunch of superhero gobbledygook.
Mm-hmm.
Although there is that too.
Yes, of course.
And but no, I think that's I look, it's good. Like, I never bet against anything. I don't want anything to be bad. I don't want studios to lay out $200 million on a movie that doesn't make money. It's not good for the business. And to see people excited about this, and to see, look, I want Marvel to come back to those days of Infinity War and Endgame when I'm really excited about Marvel properties. Now I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. It used to be I couldn't wait. And hopefully, you know, I want to love what's coming up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So this is good. I think this is good. I think it's good all the way around. We'll see how the ticket sales sustain up until the opening day. But I mean, it's pretty far out.
Well, I'm curious now to find out. I mean, we're still far out.
We're far out. We're
Once we get
6 weeks,
closer,
8 weeks away.
once we get a bit closer, I'm going to be interested to see what the projections become, what the opening weekend, because right now they're saying Superman could be 180, 185 million opening weekend, which to me is, I do not believe for a second. I'm gonna stay on that hill. Now. I do not believe Superman's going to have a $180 million opening.
I had
weekend.
100 million shaved off of that estimate.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, I hope it does. I'll be cheering from the rooftop if it does. I'll never be more happy to be wrong.
I've never wanted a movie to succeed more than I want Superman to succeed, just to change the discourse.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm really hoping that this movie is great, number one, and then can have financial success. But if Superman, and I don't believe it, but if it does, as the projections are saying 180 something million opening weekend, which is insane to me. But if it does, what could you see Fantastic Four's number being? Again, we're just putting on the speculation hats here, Rob. But I mean, if Superman actually does end up being 180 million, if it's great, that'll help ticket sales for Fantastic Four. If it sucks, it'll hurt ticket sales for but let's just say Superman opens to 180. What do you think that puts the barometer for Fantastic Four?
I still think Fantastic Four is, I mean, in my mind, it's Guardians of the Galaxy 1 numbers. It's like $750 million.
But
that's
what about
still-
opening weekend? How big now with Fandango saying it's first ticket sales?
You know what?
records, blah, blah,
For
what do
me,
you think?
I'm still thinking 120 domestic and that's at the high end of things. I just, but again, these ticket sale numbers lead me to believe that I'm maybe misjudging the movie. But we'll see.
like
I mean,
90,
Marvel, look,
95.
you can only go by Thunderbolts and Brave New World if you're looking at those box office numbers. Of course, both.
Now, just for reference, Captain America: Brave New World opened to 88 million.
Yeah.
So just for context,
I would say that, look, Fantastic Four, I still think it's going to open around 120.
That's pretty big.
but
I've got
that-
like 95.
that would be very impressive. I mean, I personally, after all the Fantastic Four failures and the struggle to get this here and all that kind of stuff, and given the place that the MCU as a whole is right now, if Fantastic Four can open to $120 million, I think they got to pop bottles over at the Disney lot.
Also, you know, the movie, like you were saying, Jonathan, it has a fun factor, an emotion. It doesn't seem like like the world's going to end and we're all going to die, even though there is that element in this movie. At least we're going to have fun doing it. We're surrounded by people that love
At
us.
least we're gonna have fun doing it.
So, I mean, it's like you got a cool car, man. Chicks dig the car.
Yeah, well, again, I'm going to put him around 110. I think when you got Pedro Pascal in there right now, who is incredibly hot right now, that's going to...
He's really hot right now.
He's so hot right now.
So hot right now.
Hansel.
He's in the
Pedro.
Materialists.
So hot right now.
Especially if he gets the girl at the end of the Materialists.
Oh man.
Then he's going to be America's Lothario.
Going
into the summer of love.
You can't see it. My friend Matt's in the studio. Like, Anne does Anne like... that we got to do the thing for Materialist. Yeah, she goes, yeah, this got to happen. She goes, me, Jalen, you, and Matt, we got to go see Materialist. I don't know that anybody's going to go see that movie, but I know my wife is going to have me watching it.
I'm going to go.
I'm
It
not
looks
gonna
good.
lie, I think it looks
I love
cute,
Cillian
actually.
Strong's first movie, so.
I was going to say, and her first movie was so great, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, according to the biggest movie ticket seller in the world, they're saying that the first day pre-sale ticket sales for Fantastic Four are now the biggest of the year, and we're already in a year that's had a couple of movies flirt with $1 billion mark. Whatever you guys think about this, tell me, how big of an opening weekend do you think Fantastic Four is going to have? Do you think like Rob around 120? Do you think like me maybe a little bit less? Maybe you think a lot more. Maybe you think a lot less. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys, with that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your comments and questions. But before we do, we got a couple things to do. First of all, is bidding adieu to
Adieu.
Robert Meyer Burnett.
I'm learning French more and more. Every day my adieu gets better.
It's coming. It's coming. Bonjour, ça va? Très bien. Ha ha. Yes. And the other thing we got to do before we go over to your questions is we're going to take another moment here and thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, our friends at Hungryroot. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Hungryroot. Okay, so I'm sure you guys can all relate to this. Spring hits and suddenly life goes from like 0 to 100. Busy season is officially in full swing over here. And honestly, who's got time to go grocery shopping? That's where Hungryroot comes in. See, because Hungryroot is like having your own personal shopper. I told them my goals and they started curating groceries for me that actually fit my life. Be it smoothies, snacks, salad kits, even ready to eat meals. All clean ingredients, no artificial junk. This week, I got the grilled turkey tenderloin with pesto grilled veggies and it was amazing. And I got my usual protein-packed snacks. It's like they're learning my taste better than I even know myself. And the best part is, I don't have to waste time driving to the grocery store and wandering the aisles. That's time I can spend doing literally absolutely anything else. Guys, I love Hungryroot. Take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/Campea and use the code Campea. That's hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. hungryroot.com/Campea, code Campea. And thank you to our friends at Hungryroot for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, now with all that down, let's get over to the real important stuff, which is, of course, your topics and questions. So, Jonathan, what we got up first?
Brian Guy says, hey, John Campea crew, what would you rather watch? Paddington 4 with Andrew Garfield, Quentin Tarantino directing a live-action remake of Disney's Emperor's New Groove, or, that'd be interesting, or Universal making a live-action remake based on the Despicable Me. That would be creepy. I just think the most palatable is a Paddington 4 with Andrew Garfield.
That's good. But
it's the easiest, safest choice.
I'm going to go Quentin Tarantino doing anything that's not just a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like, look, everybody knows I love Quentin Tarantino. The only movie he's ever made that I don't completely love is
Death
Proof. Yeah, that not great. But I almost love everything else that he's done. But my one knock personally on Quentin Tarantino is that every movie he's made has the same DNA in it. Like, if you had no idea that a movie was a Quentin Tarantino movie, you sat down and watch it in 5 minutes, and somebody said, who do you think directed this? You go, Quentin Tarantino. This is Tarantino's movie. And that's part of the reason why I was so excited a couple years ago when those reports started coming out that he was looking at doing a Star Trek film.
Right.
Not necessarily because I thought, well, what Star Trek really needs is some Quentin Tarantino, but because I've been dying to see Tarantino step out of his comfort zone, step out of his sandbox, and love to see what he can. You talk about the all-time best, Spielberg, right? He can do period piece, sci-fi, horror, musical, drama. I mean, he does everything, and he does it all while getting his movies nominated for Best Picture every time. And I think Tarantino has that kind of potential if he'd be willing to branch out and try something different. So for that reason, I would say the Tarantino doing the Disney film. All right, what's next?
Warp speed, mother. That'd be his Star Trek. Stony Snark, your AMC rant made me imagine being wooed by a woman I've been hoping to hook up with. I purchased the gifts to enhance the experience. I'm excited and ready to rock her. We enter her boudoir. Oh, some more French. Only then does she say she needs to, let's just say, use the les toilettes.
Yeah. Again, listen, just to kind of sum up, my big thing about AMC theaters, and again, I encourage all of our viewers, if you go to an AMC theater, enjoy the movie, but do not give them another penny. Don't buy their popcorn. Don't buy their soda. Don't buy candy from them. Just go in, watch the movie. Eat before you go, sneak in snacks. I don't care. Just do not give them another red penny as long as they're stealing your time. But the whole notion is, I understand ads. We have ads on this show, Jonathan. We have ads. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video. We don't charge you $20 to come and watch the show. It's a free show, and therefore we'll put an ad in the middle of our video.
Right.
Okay. If AMC wants to make admission to their theaters free, but you got to sit down and watch 25 minutes of commercials and trailers first, I'm okay with that. But the fact that they charge us a premium, a big premium, and then on top of that, expect you to sit down and watch 30 minutes of trailers.
See, because they're not going to take, like, on average, they're not going to minimize, like, 2 fewer trailers than normal to accommodate this time. You know they're not. So
yeah, it just absolutely drives me crazy, and something's got to change. Anyway, all right, what's next?
We got Sir Iki, $20 tip.
Oh, thank you, Sir Iki.
Says, hey, John, huge fan.
I think the name is Crikey, but yes.
Oh, you know what? My eye thought that was an I, not an R. Sorry about that. Hey, John, huge fan. Potentially, what's more likely? Battlestar Galactica reboots, like sequel or spinoff, or The Expanse season 7 through 9. The books take place after 30 years, so actors can age. And what do you prefer?
Battlestar Galactica. I love The Expanse. I love The Expanse. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It took me a while to get onto it, but then people kept saying, John, you got to try this show. And I did, and I got instantly hooked.
But my problem is if you don't have more creating it, like behind it.
Battlestar Galactica?
Yeah, then.
Well, see, I wouldn't even say that, because while I do believe Battlestar Galactica, the one done by Ronald D. Moore, the more recent one, it's my all-time favorite show. It's my number one all-time favorite television series. The original series done back in the 70s, it's as cheesy as it is today. Look, all the bones are there, man. Like, the mythology of this story is so good that if you put it into the hands of a talented filmmaker or whatever, you get something good. Now, there's been literally talk for years about, I believe it was Universal, that's been trying to ramp up a new Battlestar Galactica project. And I'm all for that. And because of all the talk for how many years and how valuable the IP is, I think that one's got the better chance. So I'll go with that one. All right, what's next?
Link says, you said you may visit Florida this year. Heads up. Hurricane season is June to November, rains a lot and gets muggy. And I mean, when we're talking muggy, like you're swimming in the air. Since you enjoy colder weather, I recommend visiting in Jan or February when it's cooler and not raining as much.
Yeah, what I've been told was it's safer to look at going sometime around October, November, December. And that's probably when
I would
we'll
lean
go.
towards December.
Yeah, so we'll probably go in that point, and then maybe go from Florida straight up to Canada, since we'll be over further on the East Coast anyway. But yeah, it'll be later in the year. We were originally looking September, but now we got other things we want to try. So, but it still will be this year, just probably much later. Thanks for the heads up, though. All right, what's next?
Dan V with the AMC News. I just want to shout out Premiere Theaters in Cloquet, Minnesota. Only 7 minutes of trailers and the local commercials play before the start time. So 7 film starts at 7:07.
Nice.
Compare that to Marcus Theaters with 18 to 23 minutes of ads and trailers.
Yeah, and listen, one of the things I've never minded about movies is that, look, if the movie advertises a 7:00 start time, and I go in, I show up to the theater and I like 10 minutes early, I go in at 6:50. I don't mind that there's commercials playing. It's prior to the showtime.
Yeah.
You play all the commercials and whatever you want. If I can stroll in a little bit early and you got some stuff playing, no problem with that forever. But again, to me, one of the big standards of excellence was a theater that is sadly no longer with us, which was ArcLight. It's, by the way, where Quentin Tarantino used to go watch movies. The ArcLight Theater, you walked into it, it felt like a big giant airport you were in. It was incredible.
Had that massive clock on the wall.
Oh, and the movie board and all that kind of stuff. It was amazing. Had a great restaurant in it. Anyway, they had a simple thing. 3 trailers, then the movie. If they advertised a 7:00 start time, at 7:00, 3 trailers would play. So about 9 minutes, and then you start the movie. That's the way it should be. If you're going to charge us $20 to go in and watch a movie, that's the way it should be. And I like that. So I like hearing about this. That was the ArcLight, man. And that picture itself, I don't think that's the Hollywood ArcLight.
Yeah, that's Hollywood. But
is that Hollywood?
I'll zoom in on this one.
That looks more like the one that was,
because those are the stairs that go down.
Yep, and that's the
bar
restaurant
area.
to the bar restaurant to the right. I don't even think this picture gives you a sense of how big it was.
This is after it closed, so it's all emptied
shuttered.
out.
But I mean, it was massive. Again, I love hearing that you've got theaters near you that kind of follow the same thing. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Dan V is back. My biggest concern for the Harry Potter show is having it come out on a consistent basis. Multiple shows take 2+ years for another season. Look at Percy Jackson, where kids grow up quick. We got 8 Harry Potter films in 10 years. I don't see 7 seasons in 10 years. And it's 1 or 2 in 10 years. I'd love to be wrong. With how TV shows are developed nowadays, it's unlikely we'll get the Harry Potter show in a timely manner. I know you bring up Supernatural as an example of 22 episodes a year, and Game of Thrones only once had a 2-year break. Don't get the issue of TV today.
Yeah, guys, listen. For 60 years, with 1/100th of the technology, TV shows were able to produce 20 plus episodes every single year like clockwork. Now, streaming as kind of, I mean, other than like Game of Thrones, streaming, well, Breaking Bad also had the one time where they had the big, huge break. But other than that, Breaking Bad had every year. Battlestar Galactica every year. We do live in an era where a lot of the streaming shows, it takes 2, sometimes in the case of Severance, nearly 3 years in between seasons. However, one of the big culprits of that was the fact that streamers very rarely committed to more than one season, right? In the world of streaming, like Netflix was notorious for a long time of canceling super popular shows in its second or third seasons, even though they were super popular, because Netflix didn't care how many people watched it. They only cared if new people were signing up to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And once they had all the people who were interested signed up to watch it, they didn't want to spend their money on it anymore. So they canceled, move on. So they would commit to like one season at a time. When you only commit to one season at a time, you can't lock down your talent.
Exactly.
You can't lock down your locations. You can't do any of that stuff. So a lot of times it became an exercise in logistics of getting all the ducks in a row and be ready to go in and shoot the next thing, or even having your writers working on the next season, right? However, when you have a show like the new Harry Potter series, where hell or high water, Warner Brothers is committed to it. And they might not commit to all 7 seasons, but I guarantee you that at minimum, they've locked down the first 4. And then once they get into it, if they see that it's working, they'll lock down the next couple that come after that. So it's going to be a lot easier for them to do it than a lot of these other shows. That's why Game of Thrones, which would sign up multiple seasons, they were able to do all of it. It won't be that difficult. And again, I need to reemphasize to everybody, for 60 years with 1/100th of the technology, these little bubblegum and size of trucks cameras operating crews, they were able to put out 20 plus episodes every year like clockwork. They'll be fine. They'll be able to do it. Don't worry about it. Now, worry about whether it gets canceled or not before they finish it. That's a different thing altogether. But all right, what's next?
Future Film says, hey, John, I have felt theaters need to offer exclusive merch and sell it. Every screen should be the best with add-ons like IMAX and such. Movie makers should film exclusive messages and behind-the-scenes footage. Overall, make movies a membership. What do you think?
Well, I mean, in a sense, you kind of already have that in a way, right? Like, again, I contend that AMC A-List, you know, as many gears as I have to grind at AMC and their idiot CEO, in my opinion, they also, I give credit where it's due. They have done some absolutely fantastic things, and nothing more fantastic than their A-List program. It's the absolute crown jewel and the gold standard. I mean, Regal's got a great program as well with Regal Unlimited. Cinemark has their own version of a loyalty program. Alamo Drafthouse, a lot of them do. But AMC's A-List is the gold standard. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's kind of becoming like a membership thing as well. The problem with like every movie should have collectibles and every movie should have, well, that's expensive, and not all movies are going to knock it out of the park that way. Like, what do? Do you invest millions of dollars into designing, developing, and producing special Death of a Unicorn collectibles, and then nobody went to go see it? Well, that adds to the losses. So it's a little more tricky, but I do agree that now that we're living in an era where you can go to a movie and a lot of the bigger ones at any rate will have these collectible popcorn boxes, I think that's a great idea. I love going into a movie like I did for Mission Impossible Final Reckoning and having this short little 45-second message just from Tom Cruise to say, guys, thank you so much for coming to the movie theaters. I get a kick out of those things. I really like those. It makes it feel like I'm a part of something, you know? And I think little things like that, these little things that add to the viewer experience, that add to the whole experience of when you go to the movies, is great. What does not do that is adding more commercials before the movie, so go fuck yourself. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Anonymous, Blumhouse just bought 50% rights to the Saw franchise. While Blumhouse is great for horror, excuse me, I can't help but, at the moment, I thought of more Saw movies. John, what's a mega franchise you think should have died after the first trilogy, horror or non-horror?
Oh, that's something I have to think about. I agree with you with Saw. I got as much of a kick out of the first Saw movie as anybody, but it really, I you should have stopped after that. And I don't say that, I hope I'm not offending anybody who are big Saw fans. If you like the other ones, that's awesome. But for me, that's one that probably should have died. I don't even know how many Freddy movies there were. I mean, until I saw the new Final Destination, I would have said Final Destination. But did you see the new Final Destination, by the way? Oh my God, bonkers fun. Like and I'm not a fan of that franchise. Yeah. I am not a fan of that, but I got a big kick out of Final Destination. Man, I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Terminator.
Yeah.
Because after number 3, like I actually didn't mind.
After number 2, they should have killed it.
Yeah, and I wasn't really opposed to number 3. I enjoyed it. I really liked the ending too. I just thought it was very
It should have been Terminator, Terminator 2, and the Sarah Connor Chronicles.
And then done.
Somebody meant the Paranormal Activity ones. Well, they probably should have stopped that after the first one. Paranormal Activity was so great. It was so fresh and so different at the time.
I guess the thing with the trilogy on that is it connected the family, but I know what you mean.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Anorak the All-Knowing. John, hopefully we see Johnny Storm running with a Flurkin in Doomsday. A little Quiet Place Day 1 reference for you. And would be nice and funny to see James Marsden interact with his 4th CGI animal. Also, did you catch that Gene Hackman? If I still haven't noticed him, or maybe he just doesn't look like Gene Hackman.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I watched the trailer again. And so he's referring to that guy at the beginning of the trailer who's the talk show host saying, while we can't repay them, we can certainly celebrate them, right? I can see a little hack. I'm not going to say it was overwhelming to me the way you thought, but I could see a little Hackman in there. Yeah, I could see that. All right, what's next?
Nerdy Superman. Hi, John and crew. I want to personally thank Rob for always talking about Harkins Theaters. I'm a manager here at Harkins in Arizona. I'm proud working for this company. We deliver the ultimate movie-going experience. Thanks, Rob, for the shout-outs.
Listen, I would love to go and try out Harkins. Now, the main reason I keep going to AMC Theaters is because the last number of locations I've lived, AMC Theater is always the one that's just closest to me. Like AMC Tyler Galleria in Riverside, California. That's just up the road for me. That's where I go. For me to go to Harkins, it'd probably be at least a 35 to 40-minute drive for me to get there. Mm-hmm. But I'll tell you what, we went, me, Ray, and I can't remember who else came with us. We went to like a Cinemark in Anaheim. Great experience. Wonderful experience. The I-Pick in
That's
Pasadena.
Hard to beat. That's hard to beat.
I-Pick in Pasadena, man, I would almost want to just drive to Pasadena to go to that. It was a wonderful experience. So we've gone to some great Regal theaters as well. Again, for me, it's just a matter of convenience. The AMC is just up the road, and AMC A-List makes it so I can go for free. So I mean,
4 movies a week. Well. I mean, come on.
4 movies a week for $28.
I mean, come on.
4 movies a week for $28 a month. Again, full kudos to AMC. I give them crap, but that is a bloody remarkable thing.
Which includes IMAX and
no
cinema.
upcharges.
No,
that's the thing. Like Regal Unlimited is great. It's great.
Yeah.
But if you want to go see it in one of their premium theaters, you also then got to pay an upcharge. Mm-hmm. Whereas with AMC A-List, I could book a regular screen, a laser screen, a Prime, a Dolby, an IMAX. Doesn't matter. It's all covered, and it's pretty great. All right, what's next?
Dildar the Glorious. It's literally game day as the Switch has been released. John is aware. Can't not wait to get my hands on one. So many games came out for launch. Don't know what to get. I can already hear my bank account screaming in agony not to buy it.
Yeah, a couple of our freeloader friends are probably in my living room right now. before we started the show today, my wife told me, "Oh, so-and-so and so-and-so and so, they're all coming over to play the Switch too." It's like, all right, yeah, that's fine. So they're probably in my living room right now. Yeah, dude, I gotta say, I played about an hour of it last night, the new Mario Kart game. And I admit, my first thought was, it's another Mario Kart game. It's really fun. Ann and I had a blast playing it last night, and they got Cyberpunk on it now. I'm sure it doesn't look as good as it does on
like
something else, but
it's better than if it was on Switch 1.
They got Hogwarts.
Yeah.
legacy on it now. But by the way, one of the things you should absolutely play on it is, if you haven't, I know their second one I think is either out or coming out. Heretic, not Heretic. Heretic was another game I used to play. The one where you wake up in hell and you got to try to get out. Oh, why am I freezing on? Hades. Thank you. Hades. Play Hades. Hades is a lot of fun and it's also hilarious. So give that one a shot too. All right, what's next?
We got, so Dildar follows up and says, I think I need hearing aids and new headphones from yesterday's AMC rant. Thanks, John.
Okay, I might have gotten a little animated. I admit. But again,
Your neighbors called the police.
I only get angry because I care. Like if I didn't give a crap about AMC theaters or movie going, I wouldn't say anything. I'd be another stupid thing they're doing. But it's because I want them to be great. I want them to thrive. I love the movie going experience. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Going to the movie theater is going to church for me. Like it's my favorite experience. It's such an integral part of my life and I want it to be one for the rest of my life. And I get upset when I see the stewards of this experience ruining the experience. So that's why I get mad because I love it. And anyway, there's that. All right, what's next?
Dr. Hawkeye says, just want to let you know, and anyone else interested, that Alan Alda hosts a really great podcast called Clear and Vivid. If you or anyone's interested in joining the Patreon, top tier supporters every month get to join a Zoom meeting with Alan.
Yeah,
That's cool.
somebody wrote in earlier this week about that Alan Alda has got a podcast. I'm like, Dr. Pierce, Hawkeye, he's got a podcast? Dude's in his 80s. And I love him. So like I have not checked it out yet, but I am 100% going to be checking it out because this dude has been in the business forever. He's been in some of the most popular shows. By the way, he had a great recurring character on the James Spader show. The one where he plays Red Reddington.
Oh, yeah.
Blacklist.
Yes.
He had a great recurring character on Blacklist as well. So I would love to see that. And he was so good in West Wing. Anyway.
I saw a play with him on Broadway years ago called Art. It was Alan Alda and Alfred Molina was in it. It was really good.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Forbidden says, totally agree that Doctor Doom isn't in Matt Shackman's Fantastic Four First Steps, but I also disagree that he isn't in it. You seem torn. I'm sure the Russos cooked a little something for him for the official release of the movie. It maybe like a from behind, so it's a stand-in. I don't know.
Listen, I don't think it is the most ludicrous thing in the world to think that he might be in the post-credit scene. But like I've been saying for a year, I fully do not expect, I've said forever, do not expect to see Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four.
If he was in the post-credit scene, oftentimes those are directed by the director of the movie. The upcoming movie. So they could have easily just, in part of the contract for Doomsday, filmed a short post-credit that they would then give to Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I mean, again, there was the report that came out the other day about the supposed post-credit scene that people saw. I think that's a misdirect. I think it's not actually going to be in the movie. But here's the thing. They also would not be willing to pay Robert Downey Jr. what he would want to get paid, even just to appear in a post-credit scene. But like, according to the report that came out, you never actually saw the face. So they could have just had any actor in the Doctor Doom costume. Again, I don't think it'll be there, but again, I'll just say I do not believe he's going to be in the movie. There's a slight chance that maybe he pops up in a post-credit scene, but that would be the most. All right, what's next?
Meet me at Murder Point says, not big in motorsports, but just binged all 4 episodes of the Ron Howard produced documentary Earnhardt.
Oh, I've heard good things about it.
I don't see how any man could not sob at this. It's about a son's relationship with sons' relationships with fathers. Best doc in years. Episode 3 and 4 will make real men cry.
What was the dad's name? Dale Earnhardt?
Dale. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yeah, like
As I said that, I'm like, wow.
What did I say? Who was it that I can't remember who was it exactly I was talking about, but the other day I did a major brain cramp. I'm like, what's Julia Roberts? It wasn't Julia Roberts, but I was like, what's Julia Roberts' name? Oh, it's Julia Roberts.
It was something like that.
Yeah, it was like, oh, what's Robert Downey Jr.'s name? What's his? Oh, that's right, it's Robert Downey Jr. Anyway, what was the father's name? Well, considering the son was Dale Earnhardt Jr., probably a good bet that his name was Dale Earnhardt. Anyway, I was doing my YouTube scroll the other day on the TV, and we came across the videos like Dale Earnhardt's crash.
Mm-hmm.
And Anne had never heard about it. She was like, so he like this, she had heard of Dale Earnhardt. She's like, that's how he died in a crash? I'm like, yeah. And there it was. And it was actually a really powerful movie. And I was like, that's the stuff movies are made of, man. Like, dad is this icon, dies doing his thing, and the son comes up to also become one of the best in the world. Which, I mean, we can all probably think of a couple of movies where they've done that exact same thing. I mean, Top Gun is basically that, right? So, I mean, it's powerful. So I haven't seen it yet, but everybody that I know who has seen it has told me it's really good. All right, what's next?
Mike P. Okay. Hey, crew, watched 14 movies in May.
Nice.
Top 3 were Warfare, Thunderbolts, and Sinners. Also, rewatched 28 Days Later and War Games.
Would you like to play a game?
Both were great. 28 Days Later left me anxious for hours. What movie has left you with anxiety knots in your stomach like that?
Ooh.
You know, Contagion was one that did that to me years ago. But I can't.
love Contagion.
Matt Damon, right? I'm pretty sure.
And who was the one? It was Pepper. Pepper Potts was like victim 1. She was like,
oh yeah,
patient 0 in it. Why am I freezing on Pepper Potts' name?
Pepper Potts Jr.
Yeah, Pepper Potts Jr. Yeah, that
I know
was
she has
good.
a candle, but I can't think of her name.
But
Gwyneth
you
Paltrow.
Gwyneth Paltrow. But you know what I liked even more? The Contagion
Huh.
Outbreak.
Oh wow, yeah.
With Renee Russo, Dustin Hoffman, Patrick Dempsey. I think is Morgan Freeman in that? I can't remember. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever. I love those movies.
I think most recently for me would have been Chernobyl. That literally made my skin
Oh,
itch.
that's a
like
good
I felt
one.
like I
Not a
was-
movie.
had radiation.
Yeah,
but
not a movie, but like Chernobyl was. I think the one that did it most for me all time was a TV movie that was on when I was
Day
a
After
very,
Tomorrow?
very young kid. The Day After Tomorrow.
Dude, I still have like weird memories of that movie.
Do you know, I was about 2 or 3 years ago that I watched like a 15-minute scene of it on YouTube again. And it brought back all the anxiety.
Oh yeah.
All the anxiety. It's pretty freaking terrifying, man. I mean, the visual effects by today's standards are a total joke,
Sure.
but it's pretty terrifying.
But dude, when you see as a kid and then you see all those people like they're getting married and all of a sudden it's like a flash and you see their skeletons and they just drop. It's
yeah.
like God.
Anyway. All right. What's next?
All right, Blake, if you look at the iterations of Superman in live action that have worked, they all ultimately center around the Lois Clark relationship. That is to work. Lois has to be a one-of-one person, just like Superman. From what we've seen so far, I think they got it.
I mean,
Maybe, but in Superman Returns, it was pretty heavy on that too.
yeah, like I would say this, that's not the formula that makes or breaks it. But if you're going to do a Superman movie, I mean, that is as core to his mythology as anything, that dynamic in the relationship with Lois. And as much as I love and adore Man of Steel, I still think the most underrated comic book film of all time. One of the things that for me did not really work is that even though you have one of the world's great actresses, Amy Adams, I never got the chemistry between her and Henry Cavill. Like that was never really there for me and never really worked. So magnificent movie overall. Amy Adams is a goddess, but it to me, a little bit of a miscast. You know, the other big miscast to me is, I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day. Also, world-class actress, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane. Never worked for me. I don't know, there's something about it. Just never really worked for me. Even though she's a world-class actress, sometimes it's about fit. But so you're right. I think when they announced they got the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Emmy Award winning, by the way, to play Lois Lane, I knew it would be good. And in all the footage I've seen of her and David Cornsweet together, I think they nailed the chemistry. So,
Yep.
I mean, we won't know until we see the movie, but so far I'm thinking things look pretty good. All right, what's next?
Popcorn and Coke says, I used to love A-List, but moved and have a Regal 5 minutes from me. After a year, I just canceled them because they play literally 4 Pepsi commercials after the start time of the movie. This is Regal. I drive 30 minutes to AMC, and now this new ad hits. Well, in July. Why do they hate me?
Yeah, that's the question. Why do they hate us? Why do they hate us? Again,
why do I hate popcorn and Coke at the concession stands?
yeah, exactly. I mean, if you hate me, I'm going to hate your stuff. I want to issue this out. This is an open invitation. Now, let me be very clear here. I know I'm a fucking nobody. I get this. Like, why would anybody need to respond to me? But still, just for the principle of it, I, right here, issue an open invitation to any executive at AMC Theaters. And if I know we have a lot of movie theater managers who watch our channel, because I get emails all the time from movie theater managers. Maybe pass this up the chain. I issue an open invitation to any executive from AMC, and I'll include our friends at Regal as well, to message me and lay out the case about why 4 Pepsi commercials, 30 minutes of ads, this new extra platinum commercials that AMC is going to be putting in before the movie show time. Write to me and explain to me how this is good for the audience. Simple request. Tell me, and I'll be happy to pass it along to my tiny little viewership. Tell me how this is good for the audience and this benefits the audience and will increase the audience's movie-going experience. You write to me and lay out your case. I don't believe any of you will, because I think you all know that you can't. You know that this is not good for the consumer. It is not going to increase the viewer's experience, and it's just going to drive more people away. And since it drives more people away, you're going to make less money. And because you're making less money, you're going to try to squeeze more money out of the faithful who are still going, which will cause your attendance to decrease again, making you less money. So you're going to squeeze more out of the faithful, and so the cycle continues. But again, the invitation is there. Surprise me. All right, what's next?
The law of diminishing returns. Colby, sup, John and crew, watching you guys from Memphis, baby. We have family.
Wow, it's like Elvis was in the room.
Hey, you know, we have family-owned theaters here called Malco Theaters only.
I've heard of them.
So no AMC, Regal, or Cinemark. What needs to happen in order for us Memphians to get a chain movie theater? I wonder if it's like some local laws or something prohibit it.
Well, I mean, it's that, and it's also market saturation. So like when I was in Nashville, I've got a buddy of mine who lives in Nashville, so I've gone out to visit him a few times. And when I'm there, it's like only Regal theaters. I'll give you an example. In Burbank, right? Within a 5-minute walk, there were 3 AMC theaters.
It's glorious.
There is the, what do they call the main Burbank? The
it's
AMC
the 16.
16. The AMC 16.
Then you got the 8 in the mall.
The 8 and the 6.
And the 6.
Right. They had the AMC 16, which was the main one. Second busiest movie theater in the world, by the way. Then they had the AMC 8 and the AMC 6. And for a long time, the AMC 6 and the AMC 8 were shit buckets. They were terrible. Terrible seats, disgusting floors, subpar screens, and nobody went. Nobody went to them. And I remember when I was at the AMC Death Star in Kansas and talking to, this is back when I worked with them, and talked to some of the execs about, by the way, why, like, nobody goes to these theaters. Why do we still have them? He said, simple. If we didn't own and operate them, they're movie theaters in malls. Another movie theater chain is going to come in right beside our AMC Burbank 16. And we ain't going to let that happen. Totally made sense. And besides, it probably wouldn't have been so smart for another movie theater chain to come in right beside the second busiest movie theater in the world. But so there's territory, there's market saturation, like where would you put the theater, all that kind of stuff. So that's a really good question. Like, I'm surprised that since there were so many in Nashville, I'm surprised there's not Regals.
Seems odd, like
in
anything,
Memphis. Yeah, it seems like there would be. But hey, listen, if it's a good theater chain, why fix something that ain't broke? All right, what's next?
Bengals, this one's fun. Hey, I heard you and others claim that Tim Story's Fantastic Four were flops. Didn't make that.
Technically, I did not say they were flops. I just said they were terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It didn't make the same money as X-Men or Spider-Man, which were the only comic book movies at the time, but a flop, no. Why isn't Batman Begins considered a flop too? I have the numbers, John. I guess only recent MCU box office gets a pass. Oh, that was
All
snarky.
right, so give us some numbers.
So Fantastic Four, we've got $100 million budget. It made worldwide 333 mil. So at best, it broke even. Batman Begins, 150 million. It made 375. That did not break even, but it was critically acclaimed, and it made for the launching of a $1 billion plus Dark Knight movie. And Fantastic Four was not critically acclaimed. It was panned. And the second Fantastic Four, the Silver Surfer, absolutely flopped. It was $30 million. It was $130 million budget, and it made 300 worldwide.
So it dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. You have to look at these films in their totality, right? The first Fantastic Four film did not do a Fantastic Four franchise any favors. Whereas Batman Begins came out. Now, you got to also remember, when Batman Begins came out, the Batman franchise was dead because we were coming off of Bat Nipples.
Yeah.
And, Killed by the Eyes, freeze.
Everybody chill.
Everybody chill. Right? That literally killed the franchise. Killed it. It was dead. And, Batman Begins comes out, but you have to, in evaluating Batman Begins, is what did it do for the IP?
Right.
And it completely resurrected the IP.
Yeah.
Dark Knight didn't make $1 billion in a vacuum.
Right.
Dark Knight made $1 billion because of Batman Begins. And its own merits, of course, as well. But without Batman Begins, Dark Knight doesn't make $1 billion. So you have to look at these things in their totality. So like I look at something like Thunderbolts, which did it make the money that would Marvel and Disney would have liked to have seen more money made in that thing? Absolutely. It's made a little over 370 million now. But the reason you got to look at it as a success is, number one, Thunderbolts ain't the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four, which is one of the most, you could talk to non-comic book fans around the world and you say, have you ever heard of the Fantastic Four? They're going to say yes. Of course they have. They're the first family of comic books. Thunderbolts, on the other hand, is a collection of leftover and throwaway characters from B and C level material and other things in the MCU. The second and third and fourth level characters from Disney Plus shows.
Right.
And they put them together in a movie. Right? But you look at that, and the key takeaway from it was everybody who saw it loved it. That's the thing. And because everybody who saw it, I'm sure it wasn't everybody, I'm using hyperbole, but you get it. The vast, vast, vast majority of the people who went to go see Thunderbolts loved it. And the word of mouth has been crazy good. Now, does that mean it's going to replicate what Batman Begins did to the Dark Knight and that a Thunderbolts 2 will make $1 billion? No, not necessarily. But just like I said, if they did put out a Thunderbolts 2 in 6 months, that Thunderbolts 2 movie, minimum 600 million. Minimum. Maybe more.
On a controlled budget, that's great.
Because the movie was great.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to figure into your stuff.
Right.
Now, in a vacuum, a $360 million box or $370 million box office thing compared to whatever the budget and marketing thing was, purely in a vacuum, is that a success? No. But it had the main thing that Fantastic Four never had, which was critical success, audience success, all the good things that come that lead to future success. Fantastic Four didn't have that, so it's a bust. Thunderbolts does have that. And that's why, it didn't make as much money as it needed to right now, but Disney ain't sweating that because they know they're going to make their money off this moving forward. They are going to make their money off it. And you can't look small picture. I always tell our audience that. Never try to make sure you don't get caught in your own trap of looking at a narrow line of sight. Don't look small picture. Look big picture. And that will always help you. All right. What's next?
Okay, we got a $50 tip from Ghost in My Pants. So thank you for that. Okay, but also thank you for the $50 tip. Been a long time fan since way back in 2011.
I'm still getting over the fact that he tipped in $50. Thank you, man. That's insane.
Which one do you think will actually happen first? A full remake or reboot of Terminator RoboCop or the Matrix franchise? Probably Terminator is the most likely.
Oh God, those are all terrible choices. Those are all terrible, terrible options. I mean, was RoboCop one of those?
Yes.
They just tried to do RoboCop again. By the way,
Wasn't bad.
didn't hate it.
Yeah, wasn't bad.
Michael Keaton was actually great in it. I did not hate that RoboCop movie.
The Judge Dredd remake and the RoboCop remake were both very decent.
Well, the Judge Dredd remake was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Man, they have run that franchise into the ground and then pissed on its shallow grave. They have ruined that franchise.
John Cena can play the Terminator.
And what was the third option? There was RoboCop, Terminator.
Matrix. It gets better.
Oh God. And that abortion of a movie they put out. What was it called again?
Shit got real.
Matrix
Matrix
the butt plug or-
Resurrected.
Resurrected.
Yeah.
God, that
Which is
was
ironic considering what you just called it.
It was. Oh, that movie was anal no lube. I hated that movie. That was such an unpleasant viewing experience. That was a terrible. No. So no to all of them. But yeah, if you had to say one was going to happen,
It's going to be Terminator.
probably Terminator.
They just can't I can't quit you.
But it can't be Arnold anymore.
No.
Like it has to be a total refresh reboot. You're like, yeah, anyway. Matt's just shaking his head. No, like
Yeah.
nothing that you. But it's the best of bad options.
Fine. I'm not even here. I'm not even supposed to be here. Sorry, you guys continue. I don't want any of those. I want none of those.
Oh, Jake Clark in the live chat just gave an interesting. Alan Richson is the new Terminator.
You know what?
You guys change your mind immediately.
You know what? I think I would take more AMC ads than one of those remakes at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just smush all four of your showings together. That's 2 hours of ads.
And there you go.
Knock it out a day, and then
You're set.
Yeah, go nuts.
Yeah.
All right. What's
Amin
next?
with a two-parter. Rewatched the JJ Star Trek films recently. Love the second one probably more than most people. I think so. It's the Empire Strikes Back of that trilogy, in my opinion. Cumberbatch was fantastic. First and third films were also quite good. Do you think time has passed for them to do a fourth one? Would love to see Pine and the crew again. And one concept they had of bringing Hemsworth back, I think could be very interesting. It's been 9 years since Beyond. Hope we still get a fourth in some shape or form.
Listen, I think it was that was the third one, right? Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. I really thought that was great. And listen, this is one of those franchises where this one of my favorite things is to have my expectations destroyed, because for a full maybe 2 years before that first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie came out, I crapped all over it. I said, this is a dead franchise. Nobody cares about Star Trek anymore. And by the way, I wasn't wrong. This is a stupid idea, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to the Scotiabank Theater in downtown Toronto to go to this little advance press screening of this new Star Trek, ready to hate it. And I really enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was really good. The second one, not so much. The third one I thought was the best of the bunch. And I think that one, Simon Pegg co-wrote that third one, I think. I thought it was great. Yeah, I would love to see them go back and revisit this franchise. And I agree, the whole notion of having Chris Hemsworth, because remember, Chris Hemsworth was in the first one as Captain Kirk's dad, as George Kirk. And before he was Thor, before anybody knew who he was, it leaked out that the idea for the new Star Trek movie was going to be something that involved time travel. And you're going to have, Kirk and Kirk Sr. together doing something. So you're going to have Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth together. And I'm all for it. Is it too late? It's getting to be late, but I still think the window's open. I do. And I would like to see them do it. And it's good that I'm answering this question when Rob's not here. All right, what's next?
Okay. Mega Red says, do you think Marvel will reveal a clear look at Galactus in the F4 trailers? We're more than a month away, but it seems they're playing coy about it, opposite of how they used Red Hulk in Brave New World.
Because Red Hulk was the only selling feature
Yeah.
for Brave New World. Galactus is not the selling feature for this. John, what are you talking about? Well, okay, yeah, the 1% of hardcore comic book fans, yeah, they would love to get a first look at really Galactus. The average film fan, Galactus is not the selling point of the movie. Whereas with Captain America Brave New World, we talked about this yesterday on the show, they had nothing else to go with to try to sell the movie and try to get people, Harrison Ford turning into a big red rage monster. That's a selling point to the average moviegoer, I guess. But they didn't have anything else. But I don't think that's the same thing with Galactus. So I'm going to guess no, especially if the ticket sales are strong right now. Like if we were doing a story today about Fandango saying these are the lowest first day ticket sales we've seen, well, then we're probably seeing a lot more Galactus. Hell, we may see some of Johnny Storm's bare ass. I don't know, but they'll start getting desperate about what to throw in the trailer. But at this point, I don't think they will. I could be wrong, but my guess is they won't. All right, what's next?
Matan says, now that Avengers Secret Wars is delayed to December, what are the chances that Zelda is pushed into early May? I like Zelda at the end in December, though. I think they could
like
both,
that where it is.
and I think they could both survive.
Yeah, again, the thing about December, and this is really something that started to evolve 6-7 years ago. December is a very rich field. There's a lot of people going to the movies in December.
Because it doesn't have to be the same weekend.
No,
Opening.
and you can have a lot of, we've seen in the last bunch of years, you can have big high profile films and they can all make money if you're appealing. I think that is just too rich of a time window. I think you keep it there.
Yeah.
Now listen, I haven't heard a lot of movement on Zelda, so maybe it gets moved anyway, but
Right.
I mean, I would leave it there. That's just too good of a release date. I would leave it right where it is. All right, how many more do we got left?
Let me read this one and then I'll give you a count.
All right.
The Bobster. Hi, John. I had to watch your AMC rant twice. Once to take in the rant, which I totally agree with, and once to follow the chat section, which was peak comedy. Thanks to you for making me think, and then to your awesome viewers for making me laugh.
Our viewers and our live chat is often like one of the best things about, maybe the best thing about the channel. That doesn't says a lot about the host. When the chat is probably the best thing about the channel, but it is. We have a great community and audience that participates in the chat. And again, sometimes I rely on our audience. It's like, damn guys, what was the name of that one movie, or who was the name of that one director? Blah, that are always there to fill in the gaps and stuff like that. It's part of why I like doing the show live.
We have 7.
We have what?
7.
Oh, I thought I said we have 7 viewers.
No.
We have 7. All 7 of you.
Guys, we're trying to get to 10 viewers. Please like and subscribe.
Like I'll often say, like, there's a reason why the vast majority of YouTubers pre-record their videos, right? Because if they get stuck, they can take a minute, go find the information, come back. If they didn't think they worded something right, they can do it another take, reword it differently. They can do all that kind of stuff and then edit it together into this perfect package. And that is why the vast majority of YouTubers are far smarter than me to not do it live. But one of the reasons I love doing it live is because our community literally becomes a living part of the broadcast. They become a living part of the show. So like actually having our live chat there is a part of the experience. And again, I find it useful to me. And yeah, there are a lot of shortcomings with doing these shows live. A lot of shortcomings to doing them live. But I think it's worth it.
Yep.
All right. What's next?
All right. Ben says, in memory, Andy Bang's 1940-2025 John Andor is great because it's everyday Star Wars, showing what it really took to destroy the Death Star, flawed people moving messily forward and hoping no matter what.
Well,
5 stars.
I mean, this is one of the things that I was really impressed with. I remember when I first saw Rogue One was the fact that I love the idea. Like, if you're going to have a rebellion, I remember saying this years ago when Rogue One came out, there are going to be a lot of people who have to do a lot of very nasty things. And there are going to be people who have blood on their hands. It's not just some farm boy looking away to the stars and a future of adventure. It's not just that. And again, I'm not downputting the original Star Wars. To me, they're the greatest things of all time. But I mean, for them to actually go that way and for Andor to double down on that, and the fact that we even have a character like Luthen is just amazing. And again, it goes beyond even everyday Star Wars. It just shows, why was the universe rising up? Because if you just watch Star Wars in a vacuum, right? Like, okay, the Empire's bad, but what's the big deal? When you watch Andor and you see cultures being oppressed, you see genocide, you see abuses, you see terror, you see authoritarianism, you see, whatever it is that we're seeing happening in Washington these days. When you actually see that playing out, it just breathes so much more life and context and texture, even into already the greatest movies of all time. It just elevates them even more. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, I could sit here for the next 4 hours and wax poetic about Andor, but you guys get the picture. All right, what's next?
Anonymous, true or false? Superman pre-sale tickets will break the record just set by Fantastic Four. I would think so, just based off the hype.
Maybe.
We don't
Again,
know.
I have my they're projecting 180 million opening weekend. I don't buy it. I hope it happens. I'll be thrilled. I got all the belief in the world in James Gunn. He's one of my favorite filmmakers. I just believe there's so much damage done to the property pre-James Gunn that I just didn't see it. But hopefully you're right. Hopefully you are. By the way, do we know when tickets go on sale?
For Superman, no.
Yeah, I don't think any of us
all I
heard.
have is a remind me thing that I can hit. That's it.
All right. What's next?
Anonymous, hi, John and crew. By the way, to those who complained about the CGI of Shia LaBeouf after this trailer, what they've got to say, in my opinion, she looks perfect.
I think she looks great. I mean, as great as any Silver Surfer character can look.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
There's silver
the character
skin,
in and of itself is it's a chrome skin thing.
Yeah.
It is, but I thought it looked pretty good.
And it's the trailer that we always see them fine tune it before the release.
Yeah, and again, CGI, especially for movies, this is not just like some little no. They look different on a television screen than they look in the movie theater. And so we'll see. I mean, maybe I'll watch and think it looked really off-putting. Maybe I'll watch and think it's the greatest CGI ever. I don't know. We'll see. All right, what's next?
We got Raymond who says, "Hi John, if you're not going to buy snacks at AMC anymore, why don't stop going to AMC altogether? Cancel your A-list, get a Regal Limitless instead, because they do just as many commercials. That's not any better. Instead, or go somewhere else for movies. You rant about them a lot, but you keep going to them for films."
All right, math lesson time.
So that's the most aggressive comment I've ever seen in my life.
Let's do a little math lesson, shall we?
You're so
When
bad, John. Don't go there. You're so
Here's the
tough.
Here's how AMC A-List, and for that matter, even a Regal Unlimited, works. I pay $28 a month for my AMC A-List. Every time I use A-List, AMC needs to cut a check for $10 back to the studios. They need to report my ticket as a $10 movie ticket sale, and thus a big, whatever the movie studios take of that is, let's say about $6.50 to $7, has to go back to the studio. Well, out of my $28, that's now, let's just round it out just for the sake of the discussion. That's $7 they're now out. So now they've made $21 off me. Great. I go back to see another movie the next day. They got to send out another $7 of that $28. Now they're down to 14. When I go to see 3 movies the following week, that's $21 they need to send out to the studios. That $28 they originally got for me, now they're $7 in the hole. When I use it 2 more times the following week, that's another $14 they got to send off to the studio. So whereas they took $28 from me, they're now $21 in the hole. Now you might think, well, then wait a minute. If the math is that bad for AMC theaters, why do they do A-List? The reason they do A-List is because movie theaters are not movie companies. They're not movie business companies. They're candy business companies. Movie theaters actually make their money at the concession stand. That's where their real money is made. So the reason they're fine with people like me using A-list so much that it actually becomes a negative for them is because they want to get me into the theater to spend my money at the concession stand, which is where they really make their profit. So sure, they take a $20 to $40 loss on my A-list, but they know they'll probably make, in the span of a month, no lie, I probably spend about $200 a month at the concession stand. So AMC is like, we lose $40 on Campea using his A-list, or somebody like Campea using their A-list. No problem if we're going to make $160 or $190 or $200 in that month because they come so much, they spend so much money at the concession stand. So you ask, well, why not just stop going to AMC theaters? Because it's a good financial arrangement for me. And it's not a good financial arrangement for them if I stop buying their concession stands.
Got your ass.
And that's why. Anyway. All right. What's next?
We got Raymond who says, it says, sorry, John and Jonathan for sending in 4 times. Didn't think the payment went through, but yeah, that happens. It's a weird glitch. You didn't get, that didn't happen.
Also,
So
I'd like
good.
to apologize to Raymond immediately with the I'm sorry, John.
Sorry, John. It's like, oh, where's this going?
Raymond, calm down. I'm sorry. Okay, well then never mind.
What's next?
We got Willoughby Sting. What's more likely, John buys snacks from AMC or John goes to Disneyland? Dumb jokes aside, Odeon UK was the cinema we went to growing up, but ever since AMC took over Odeon in 2016, the experience there is drastically worse. Why do you hate Odeon AMC?
Yeah. And by the way, some might point out, I do go to Disney once in a while. I do. Because the main number one job of my life is making my wife happy. That's my number one job in life. And to my chagrin, my wife loves going to Disneyland. So I don't go with her often. She goes with this one clique of friends they have called the Dodos. I don't know why they call themselves that, but she's got this clique of 4 Asian girls. They call themselves the Dodos, and they go to Disneyland at least once a month. But because my number one job in life is to make my wife happy, and it makes my wife really happy when I will go to Disneyland with her 2 or 3 times a year out of the 12, I'll go. So yeah, so that happens. But I won't be spending my money on AMC.
I ain't buying
concession
popcorn
stand.
at Disneyland either.
Yeah. Like a refillable bucket or something,
It's
or is that
something like
gone
that.
now?
No, they still have it.
They still have it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and really likes the popcorn. But I ain't spending any more of my money at the concession stand at AMC. That's just gone. Again, I'll start spending money at the concession stand again once they stop stealing my time. But as long as they keep stealing my time, I'm not going to give them any more of my money.
All right, our final 2. We got Mr. I. What's more likely, RDJ in quick cameo, Fantastic Four post credit, or Council of Reeds with Pedro Pascal, John Krasinski, Miles Teller? I can never pronounce his name.
Ion Gruffin.
Yeah, and long shot Alex Hyde White. Oh, come on. Unreleased 94 F4 movie. No, he will not.
Well, okay, so I do think there is a remote chance. I'm not expecting it, but there's a remote chance there's a post-credit scene with RDJ in it. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, but remote chance. After Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, I think Marvel's learned its lesson about having a council of anything.
That's what I'm thinking.
At
It's
the
like,
end of it.
nah.
So, yeah, no, that ain't gonna.
They all start high-fiving each other and screaming.
No. No, it's going to be RDJ. And so, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but
That's more likely. Yeah.
All right.
Final one. Anonymous. No one's saying it, but I thought about it listening to yesterday's show. The James Gunn DCU is essentially Kevin Feige's MCU, probably more tuned up with all the experience from past comic book movies, but we're definitely in for a time.
Listen, I was so pleased when I heard that James Gunn was taking over DC. Number one, just because I think he's a visionary force. I think he's great. Number two, he has a deep, like however much you think you personally know about comic books, he knows more. And he's just been a lifelong, so he's got a thing of the lore. Number 3, I love his storytelling sensibilities. Number 4 or 5, he has a long experience with some, like, whether you're going all the way back to the Trauma days and whatever, he has worked on every level of filmmaking and every level of studio. Number 6, he worked very closely with Kevin Feige in the MCU. As a matter of fact, before everything blew up with the controversy and he ended up leaving Disney, Kevin Feige had promoted him to being kind of the guy who was going to shepherd the galactic level of stuff in the MCU. So he has worked in that. So by the time, and then he made great movies for the MCU with his Guardians films. He made a great film for DC with his Suicide Squad movie, which was fantastic. You put all of that experience and all of those gifts and talent, and you say, this is the person who's going to take over DC. It was great. And then you paired him with somebody with a lot of executive experience as well to be his co-head with Peter Safran. I mean, it was just a great move. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to work. This thing could go to shit real fast, right? I mean, I just don't know. But it looks really good to me. And I'm excited to find out how it's going to work. And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it. And everybody involved with our show, thanks you guys so very much for your support. Big thank you, of course, to Robert Meyer Burnett, Jonathan Voico, as always, for running the show so
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, guys, and until next time. Oh, by the way, tomorrow I'll be on the road, but I'm going to do the show. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be in Las Vegas tomorrow. I'm heading to Las Vegas tonight. Every year, I go and participate in the World Series of Poker, which is going on right now. So me and my buddy Sol, we're going to drive out to Vegas tonight, but I will be doing the show tomorrow from Vegas, and Robert Meyer Burnett will be joining me remotely. I'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully you guys will join me. That'll do it for us for now, guys. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.